Arkan, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom to the Torah tribes, Yasha Allah, giving, of course, all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahawah, Shema Mashak Yahawashi. That's all praises, honor, glorification unto the Most High God, the Father, Yahawah, in the name of his only begotten Son, Mahashiach Malak Yahawashi, the righteous. All right, and he is the Savior and the King of the nation of Israel. All right, who are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, as well as Israelites scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. All right. Basically, right, I'm gonna be going into the sorrows and afflictions of Yahawashi, because remember, Yahawashi was a man of sorrows. It literally says that in the book of Isaiah chapter 53, right? And we're going to go through Isaiah 53. I might not go through the whole chapter, but we're going to pull certain verses from it and show it and demonstrate it in the New Testament, right? Because Yahawashi, they portray Yahawashi as white man, and he's holding little kids all the time, right? He's just this guy that's just always happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see him, happy, smiling, right? For example, like, let me pull up this picture, right? This is how they display the Lord, right? This is how they display the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So, like, let me pull this up, right? It says, look at this, man. Look, he's smiling. You know what I'm saying? Giving you a piece of bread, right? You're breaking bread with Yahawashi, right? And this is not what Yahawashi looks like, by the way. But Yahawashi, he was a man of sorrows, all right? If he was walking the earth today, psychologists, psychiatrists, maybe even doctors would basically diagnose Yahawashi with depression, all right? That's how, how much Yahawashi was full of sorrow, right? And thoughts were plaguing his mind, right? And we're going to go through it, right? We're going to go through it. So I'm going to kick it off with the book of Isaiah chapter 53. All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 53. All right, this is the book of Isaiah chapter 53 from the top. All right, Isaiah 53 from the top. It says, "Who have believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall," who's the he? He is talking about the Son of God, right? Yahawashi. "For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He have no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire of him." Right? Basically, what is that going into? When Yahawashi was walking the earth, he wasn't the most tallest dude, right? He wasn't the most tallest dude, the most beautiful dude, right? That had the most beauty, the most looks, right? Hey, Yahawashi, when he was walking the earth, he probably wasn't the fastest, he probably wasn't the strongest either. Although he did have the spiritual power, but he wasn't comely, right? When he was walking the earth as Mahashiach Yahawashi, right? What does comely mean? Meaning beautiful in appearance, right? Handsome or whatever, right? He wasn't like that because he was walking meek. You know what I'm saying? He was walking meek. He came. Let me just get this precept real quick, right? Let's go to Philippians chapter 2, right? This is how, because Yahawashi, he wasn't coming in the spirit of pride. You know what I'm saying? When he was walking the earth, he came in the spirit of a servant, right? Not a servant, right? Let's go to Philippians chapter 2 and verse number 7, right? Philippians chapter 2. I'm gonna start at verse 5 to get the context, right? Philippians chapter 2, verse 5. "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Mahashiach Yahawashi, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal of God." So this is talking about Mahashiach Yahawashi, right? "But made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross." So Yahawashi wasn't walking in that spirit of pride. You know what I'm saying? When he came upon the earth as Mahashiach Yahawashi, he was lowly, he was meek, and he wasn't the most beautifulest, the most handsome, the most, fastest brother, right? The most tallest, you know what I'm saying? He was just like every other brother because he came at that time to be a servant, right? Like how Yahawashi, he said, the Son of Man didn't come to be ministered onto, but to minister, right? So Yahawashi, he came as a servant, right? So that's why, it says that there's no form of comeliness in him, right? Because Yahawashi, he didn't want to be made to be, the most beautifulest, right? The most tallest, right? Wearing all these, very, very expensive garments. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't born in a rich family. Joseph and Mary. Hey, Joseph was just a carpenter. That's a common occupation that doesn't pay. It doesn't get you rich, but it gets you by. Let's go back to this though. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 53 verse 3. Right. So this is talking about Yahawashi. It says he is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows. So Yahawashi is despised and rejected of men. Right. When he was walking the earth, people hated him, man. Right. People hated him. That's literally what he said in the book of John. Marvel not if the world hates you, right? Just know that it hated me first before it hated you. That's what Yahawashi said, right? It says he is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows. Because if you're always despised, wherever you go, people just hate you, right? They don't even want to look at you. They mock you. They deride you. They get on you. Everywhere you go, you're despised and rejected. You can't come in here. Right? You can't come into the city. You're not welcome here. People are looking at you. You know what I'm saying? Eyeing you. Right? If you're going through that every day, right? You're going to be a man of sorrows. You're going to be a person of sorrow, because you're not getting any support. Everybody is against you. So that messes up with your mind. You know what I'm saying? And that messed up with Yahawashi's mind. That's one of the reasons why he was a man of sorrow, right? It says, and acquainted with grief. He was acquainted with grief. He had an abundance of grief, right? What is grief? Let's look it up, right? What is grief? Let's look that word up, all right? Let me share my screen, right? Get this out of here. So the definition of the word of grief, right? It says deep sorrow, especially that caused by someone's death. So grief is basically just deep sorrow. He was just a man of sorrows, right? And, also in the book of John, chapter 11, Yahawashi was almost grieved unto death as well, right? When Lazarus died, but he brought him back to life. You know what I'm saying? But Yahawashi all over, he was just, full with sorrow, right? He was just filled with sorrow and vexed with it. But it says, and acquainted with grief, and we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not, right? So he was despised and people didn't even esteem him, right? Meaning, Israelites, some Israelites, they didn't even esteem Yahawashi, right? They saw all the work he was going through, all the stuff he was going through, right? Emotionally, physically, but yet they did not esteem Yahawashi, right? They still didn't believe him. They still didn't support his cause, right? But let's get a scripture, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 11. So knowing that if you have a sorrow of mind, what are you going to do, right? A lot of men, if they have a sorrow of mind, right, and they're grown, they're going to be drinking, right? They're going to grab that bottle, whether it be the strong drink or wine, to kind of ease their mind, right? To ease their pain, to ease their sorrow, their stress, right? A lot of men, they grab that wine, that bottle, you know what I'm saying? And that's what Yahawashi did as well. Right? That's why let's go to Matthew chapter 11. This is the book of Matthew chapter 11 and verse 18. For John came neither eating or drinking, and they say he hath the devil. Verse 19, here's the point. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, behold, a man gluttonous and a winebibber, a friend of publicans and sinners, but wisdom is justified of her children. So Yahawashi said that, look, basically people were calling Yahawashi a winebibber because he was drinking wine. Why was Yahawashi drinking wine? He was drinking wine because he was going through it. It was something to ease his pain, to ease his stress. That's why he was drinking wine, right? Because let's go to the book of Proverbs. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, and verse 6. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish. Right? Like for someone that's on their deathbed. That's a lot of stuff you got to take in. Right? You're about to die, right? That's heavy. So the Lord is saying, give strong drink to him that is that's ready to perish. Also, that strong drink, when you are going through a lot of physical pain, that strong drink will kind of ease it too. You know what I'm saying? So strong drink is a way of, you know, helping alleviating pain, whether it be physically or mentally. You know what I'm saying? Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. Let him drink and forget his poverty and remember his misery no more. So wine is given to those that be of heavy hearts, right? So Yahawashi was of heavy heart because, and because he was of heavy heart, he had to drink that wine, huh? And we're going to get why he was of heavy hearts as well, right? Why was he of heavy hearts? He's the son of man. He's the son of God. Why? Because he knew he had to go through a lot of stuff. He knew that Judas would betray him. He knew that he had to be put on a cross. He knew he had to go through all this pain, this trials, the tribulation, right? That's why he was a man of sorrows, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach, right? Let's go to Sirach, chapter 31, all right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 31. Sirach, chapter 31, verse 27. Wine is as good as life to a man if it be drunk moderately. What life is then to a man that is without wine? For it was made to make men glad. So wine is good, right? What life does a man have without wine? That's literally what Sirach, or basically Bon Sirach is asking, right? Your life, you know, is really nothing if you don't have wine, right? Why? Because it was made to make men glad. So Yahawashi, being a man of sorrows, if he drank that wine a little bit, maybe, you know, he will forget his sorrow and become happy again. You know what I'm saying? But that's, hey, they don't even say that in the church, man. They don't teach you that in the church, that Yahawashi was utterly going through it, man. Physically, mentally, spiritually, right? Wine measurably be drunk, and in season bringeth gladness of the heart and cheerfulness of the mind. You see that? And of course, Yahawashi wasn't a damn drunkard, but he did sip on that wine occasionally, right? To what? Forget his misery, to help with his sorrow, to help with his stress. Because Yahawashi literally, I would say Yahawashi literally was the most stressful, or basically man that was going through so much stress, right? One of the men in the history of men, right? In the history of men, to have the most stress, right? If that makes sense. Okay, because you really have to examine how much Yahawashi went through, right, for the nation of Israel, and that the whole weight, the whole life of the whole nation of Israel is resting upon his shoulders. Prophecies that the former prophets have spoken about, right? It's all coming to play with Yahawashi. You know what I'm saying? But let's go to the book of Luke chapter 12, right? It's the book of Luke chapter 12, verse 49. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I, if it ought to be kindled? But I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how am I straitened till it be accomplished? So Yahawashi said, hey, I got a baptism to be baptized with, man, right? I got to go through that fire. That's what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? I have the will. My father said I got to do some stuff. I got to go through it, right, to be purified. You know what I'm saying? Is that baptism is going to purify you. It's going to wash you. You know what I'm saying? So basically, it's just like how the elect are being tried in the fire right now, like it says in Sirach chapter 2, verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Yahawashi had to go through that adversity, because Yahawashi on a symbolic level is gold, man. He's gold. So he had to go through a lot of fire, you know what I'm saying, to be purified, man. And and that's what he's saying. I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how am I straitened till it be accomplished? Straitened means pained. I'm gonna be stressed until it's accomplished, man. I'm gonna be stressed. I'm gonna be stressed out. I'm gonna be pained. I'm gonna be sorrowful, right? I'm gonna go through it until it's accomplished, until it's done, right? So that's what Yahawashi had to go through, man. That's what he said, man. Right? Verse 51. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division. So he didn't even come to give peace on earth. All right. But let's see what other precepts I had, right? Let's go to Mark, right? Let's go to Mark chapter 9. Because remember, Yahawashi was a man of sorrows, like I said. It's the book of Mark chapter 9 and verse 12. It says, and he answered and told them, Elias verily cometh first and restoreth all things, and how it is written of the Son of Man that he must suffer many things and be set at naught. You see that? And so he's quoting Isaiah chapter 53, right? That the Son of Man must suffer many things and be set at naught, meaning be set aside, man. Be killed, right? Be set be esteemed at a low level. You know what I'm saying? And all these things had to come to pass, right? All the things that were written, and that goes into fulfilling the law, like it says in the book of Matthew chapter 5, right? Verses 17 on down, right? Fulfilling the law. Yahawashi had to fulfill all the prophecies, right? About his first coming, right? That pertain unto him and that pertain unto his sufferings, right? Because let's go to the book of Acts chapter 3. Yahawashi was fulfilling all the prophecies that dealt with his sufferings, right? Acts chapter 3 and verse 18. But those which God before had showed by the mouth of all his prophets, which is can be found in the Old Testament, right? The prophecies about Yahawashi can be found in the Old Testament. It says, but those things which God before had showed by the mouth of all his prophets, that Christ should suffer, he have so fulfilled. So Mahashiach Yahawashi, he fulfilled those, right? He fulfilled all those precepts and all those prophecies about him suffering. All right. We're going to go through that in the Gospels, right? Let's go to the book of Luke chapter 51, right? And let's get other examples about how Yahawashi was despised and rejected in men, right? It's the book of Luke chapter 9 and verse 51. And it came to pass when the time was come that he should be received up, he steadfastly set his face to go to Jerusalem. So Yahawashi wanted to go to Jerusalem, right? And set messengers before his face, and they went and entered into a village of the Samaritans to make ready for him. And they did not receive him because his face was as though he would go to Jerusalem. So they didn't even receive Yahawashi, man, right? They're saying, get the hell out of here, right? We don't welcome you. You know, we don't welcome you here, right? Get out of here, right? Probably call him a false prophet, you know what I'm saying? Probably calling him stuff, names, you know what I'm saying? Etc., etc. Getting on him and not accepting him. That deals with your emotions, you know what I'm saying? When people don't accept you and when they hate you, that deals with your mind. I mean, that messes up with your mind, right? That only makes sense. And so if they hated Yahawashi and rejected Yahawashi, what do you think they're going to do to us? They're going to do the same exact thing because the servant is not above his master. And Yahawashi, he walked out as an example, right? He walked as an example. If brothers are going through it right now, Yahawashi went through that times two, right? If brothers are going through it right now, physically, mentally, spiritually, going through the trials and tribulations and afflictions, guess what? Yahawashi, he went through that times two. Because look, he's our master and he walked and he's the example, right? We're just following him. You know what I'm saying? And we're not above him. He put in the most work, man. He got the most affliction, right? Etc., etc., right? If that makes sense. Let's go to the book. Let's get a precept on that, right? Let's go to 1 Peter, right? First, I'm going to get 1 Peter and I'm going to get Hebrews, right? Let's go to 1 Peter, Spirit. This book of 1 Peter, chapter 2, verse 21, right? It says what? For even hereunto were you called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps, who did no sin, neither was God found in his mouth. Right. So, and if we follow Yahawashi's steps, we're going to go through the same things that Yahawashi went through, man. Right. Being straight, being straightened, which means what? Being stressed out, being pained, right? Being in pains, right? Being tempted all the time, right? Because let's go to Hebrews. Yes, Yahawashi was tempted. Okay, don't think that Yahawashi, when he was just walking the earth, right, there were no demons plaguing him. No, he was tempted all the time, man, right? And his temptations are even different than ours. For example, like when Satan was tempting in the wilderness, Satan was like saying that, look, command that these stones be made bread, right? Trying to tempt Yahawashi, you know? But Yahawashi, he didn't give in to that temptation, right? And Yahawashi was probably tempted to call forth a legion of angels and destroy Herod, right? And destroy Pontius Pilate, you know, when he was being delivered up. He could have done that, right? He had the power to do that, but he didn't do it, right? Even though he was tempted to. He said, hey, I got to go through it, right? I got to remain in my place, you know? All the time, Yahawashi was tempted, right? Let's go to Hebrews chapter 4 and verse, I'm going to start at verse 14. It says, seeing then that we have a great high priest that is passed into the heavens, Yahawashi, the Son of God, let us hold fast our profession. For we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. So Yahawashi, his whole ministry, he was tempted, man. Imagine that. And he still not go off, man. He still did not sin. He still did not commit iniquity, right? So that should be inspiring, right? But the point is, Yahawashi was tempted like how we are. Same temptations, right? Sometimes a little different, but for the most part, I would say the same temptation, man, because it says like as we are, right? Because he was in these mortal bodies, right? Let's go to Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 17. Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make reconciliation for the sins of people. For in that he himself have suffered, being tempted, he is able to secure them that are tempted. You see that? So Yahawashi, because he was tempted, he's able to give comfort unto those that are tempted. And those that are tempted are us right now, right? It's talking about us. So yes, Yahawashi was tempted, man. And that's part of the affliction that he went through, right? That's part of the affliction. Because temptation, it doesn't seem, it's not fun, right? Temptation is not fun. It's a literal fight, right? Against Satan, against the flesh. You know what I'm saying? It's a literal fight. And that fight is nothing fun, right? Because at any time you can go off and then that's it, right? It's set in stone, you know? Let's go to the book of, right? Let's see where I want to go to. Yeah, come on. We can go to 2 Peter, right? So another thing with Yahawashi, or actually, let's put this in Luke, right? Let's go to Luke chapter 19, right? Let's go to Luke chapter 19. It's the book of Luke chapter 19 and verse number 14, right? I'm going to start at verse 13. It says, and he called his 10 servants, 10 being the number of completion, right? And delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come. These 10 pounds, basically the talents, right? The talents are basically our spiritual money, like our gifts that we have in the truth, and the certain dispensation of wisdom, right? And knowledge and understanding from the Most High. Because not every brother is going to have the same amount of knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Not every brother is going to have is going to labor to such a level as Paul. You know what I'm saying? Yet they'll still get the kingdom, if you can understand, right? Yet they'll still get a reward, right? So every brother's lot is different, right? But it says what? Luke chapter 19, verse 14. But his citizens hated him and sent a message after him saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. So his own citizens, Yahawashi's fellow citizens, hated him. And who are his fellow citizens? His own people, right? If you hate Yahawashi, right? If you hate Yahawashi, you're a coon, huh? Right? Because Yahawashi died for you. He died for the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And if they hate him, hey, guess what, man? Right? look, you're a coon and you're against the Most High. But the point I want to touch on is that his own citizens hated him, man. His own people hated him, right? Let's see what he does to his enemies. Verse 27. But those mine enemies, which were not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me, man. So Yahawashi says, slay them before me, all right? And that's actually in the scriptures. Sidebar, right? Let's go back to this in Isaiah chapter 53, right? Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 4, right? It says, surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. Right? Smitten of God and afflicted. Right? So he was afflicted, man, at all times. Right? And he was carrying our our sorrows. Right? Let's go to verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. You see that? And Yahawashi was literally beat. Yeah? He got whipped by Pontius Pilate 40 times. Right? He was put on a cross. And before he was put on the cross, he was getting smite. Hey, let's get it. All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 26 real quick. It's the book of Matthew chapter 26. Right? Matthew chapter 26 and verse number verse 27. Matthew chapter 27 and verse number, I want to start at verse 27, right? It says, then the soldiers of the governor took Yahawashi into the common hall and gathered unto him the whole band of soldiers, and they stripped him and put on him a scarlet robe. And when they had plaited a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head and a reed in his right hand, and they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews. So Yahawashi was being mocked at, man. He was being mocked, stripped naked and put on this royal apparel, basically to mock him, And that's, people mock us now, right? People mock us out when we are out there in the highways and byways. They don't understand what we're doing. That's why Paul said we are become fools of Christ's sake. That's 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 10, man. It says, right, I want to get to this point, though. Like, where is this at, right? It actually might be Salaki, right? But yeah, Yahawashi was literally beaten up. Right? He's getting spit on, buffeted, like it says. It says that he was buffeted, man. Right? And a crown of thorns was put on his head. Right? That's all right. We can go back to Isaiah chapter 53. Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 6. Right? Look, Isaiah chapter 56 and verse number 6. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned everyone to his own way, and the Lord have laid on him the iniquity of us all. So Yahawashi bore our iniquity. That's how he was able to die for the nation of Israel, because on a symbolic level, he's the lamb, right? And the lamb will be the atonement for sin, right? According to the law. So that's why Yahawashi died for the nation of Israel, because he is that lamb, right? But also, I want to get this precept, right? Let's go to the book of 2 Peter, right? Let's go to 2 Peter. It's the book of 2 Peter, right? 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 7, right? 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 7, it says, and delivered just Lot. So the Most High delivered Lot. All right, Lot, I believe, is he's a relative to Abraham, right? He's a relative to Abraham, but it says, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, right? So he was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, where everybody was talking about in Sodom and Gomorrah, because there are a lot of them, you know what I'm saying, they were known for homosexuality, bestiality, pedophilia, pedestry, etc., man. A lot of fornication, a lot of sin going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. And so Lot, being a righteous man, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, he was vexed every day, right? He doesn't want to hear that. A righteous man doesn't want to hear about sin, right? Like how the Lord said, delight not in the thing that the ungodly have joy in. You know what I'm saying? In the book of Sirach, right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs, right? Actually, before I go to Proverbs, let me just read this verse. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 8. For that righteous man dwelling among them in seeing and hearing vexes righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. So he was vexed. His soul, his righteous soul was vexed day to day, right? With their unlawful deeds. Because he was looking at, and he was probably seeing men holding hands. You know what I'm saying? Like how if you will go to Atlanta, or how you would go to San Francisco, or basically, you know, even a lot of major cities, you know, you see a lot of homosexuality, right? Especially here in America. And a righteous man, he'll be vexed at that. He'd be like, what the hell, right? What the hell is that, man? Right? Let's go to Proverbs. So Lot. So if Lot, right? If Lot was vexed day by day, living in Sodom and Gomorrah, looking at all that sin, looking at all that ungodly stuff, how much more Yahawashi? We're talking about the Son of the Most High God, who did not even sin, right? We're talking about the Son of God, right? The Son of Man, right? Who has all power given to him by his Father, of course, right? We're talking about Mahashiach Yahawashi, who was righteous enough to die for the nation. You know what I'm saying? Who has way more wisdom than Lot, than Abraham, than Isaac, than Jacob, than David. You know what I'm saying? So how much more Yahawashi when he was walking the earth? He was vexed every day then, because he was looking at the wicked and ungodly ways of some of the Pharisees of the nation of Israel, and that's why he was getting on them, man. You can read about that in the book of Luke, and as well as the book of Matthew chapter 23. Right, but let's go to the book of where do I want to go? All right, Proverbs. Come on. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 29, verse 27. Okay. This book of Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 27. Right? It says, an unjust man is an abomination to the just, and he that is upright in the way is abomination to the wicked. So the unjust man, that a godly man hates the ungodly. A godly man hates the ungodly, and likewise the ungodly hates the godly, right? The righteous man, he doesn't like unrighteous people, and the unrighteous people, they don't like the righteous man. You know what I'm saying, etc. If you can get what I'm saying, because the righteous man, he's going to be vexed. He's going to be vexed at the filthy ways of the wicked, because he knows in his spirit that that's not right. It's not right for you to be doing that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It messes with his spirit, because the spirit that's inside of him is righteous. Don't you think that Yahawashi's spirit was righteous? Of course it was righteous. So by him walking around a lot of wicked Israelites, it's no telling how much he was vexed, right? And when I say wicked Israelites, I'm talking about the Israelites that didn't believe in him, right? That were going the hell off. He was around them all the time. As much as he was around those that actually followed him, he was also around those that did not believe in him, talking to him, right? Or them trying to talk to him, them watching him, right? Etc., etc. Okay, let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 17. And even Yahawashi even got on the people that he was with, his followers, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 17 and verse 17, right? Let's go to It says, I'm gonna start at verse 14. It says, and when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him and saying, so there was a man that was kneeling down unto Yahawashi Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic and sore vexed, for oftentimes he falleth into the fire and off into the water. So his son is sick, right? His son is a lunatic, meaning that he's lame, right? There's something wrong with his body. His body prohibits him from walking correctly, right? And operating correctly, right? Verse 16, and I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. So, because the disciples had power to heal the sick, right? Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 10, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 10 to confirm that. You know, the disciples actually had power to heal. It's the book of Matthew chapter 10 and verse 1. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. And also that power, it really comes from their faith and their works as well, right? But ultimately from the Most High God through Yahawashi, right? And Yahawashi bestowed that spirit of being able to heal, right? And cast out unclean spirits. Yahawashi gave them that ability. But with this, when it came to this demon was so strong. This demon was so on such a high level that guess what? The disciples couldn't even cast him out. Peter couldn't cast him out. Andrew couldn't cast him out. Peter, James, John, they couldn't do it. Right? So they brought him to Yahawashi. Verse 17, right? It says, then Yahawashi answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation. So now Yahawashi is kind of, you know, complaining, or not complaining, but, you know, getting on the people, right? How long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. You see that? So Yahawashi was like, hey, man, how long do I have to be with you guys, man? Because y'all are faithless. Y'all don't know what's going on, right? Y'all don't have that spirit in you, man. Right? You're faithless. Right? Because guess what? Let's go to Mark chapter 9. Why do you say they're faithless? Mark chapter 9 and verse 29, right? It says, or actually, I'm sorry, I want 23. Mark chapter 9, verse 23. Yahawashi said unto him, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Right? You see that? So Yahawashi was like, all things are possible unto him that believeth. And you guys you don't even believe that you can cast him out, man. You don't your faith is not up there yet. How long shall I be with you? That's what he said. How long do I have to be here and suffer you guys? Right? But come on. Right? Also, another reason, right? Another reason why Yahawashi at all times was a man of sorrow was because he didn't have a one place to stay. He was always on the move. He was always on the go, right? Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 9. Luke chapter 9 and verse 57, right? It says what? And it came to pass that as they went in the way, a certain man said unto him, Lord, I will follow thee whithersoever thou goest. So a certain man came up to Yahawashi and said, hey, I'm going to follow you wherever you go, right? And Yahawashi said unto him, foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath not where to lay his head. You see that? So the foxes, they have their holes, right? The birds, they have their nests, right? Their houses, the little nests. Basically, what he's trying to say, that even the animals have their little homes, but I don't have one stationary home. You know what I'm saying? I'm always on the go. I'm doing the work of the Lord, right? I'm doing the work of my Father, so I don't have one place of residency, right? It's a lot. All praises. You see that? So that's what Yahawashi had to go through that too. He was moving from house to house. You know, that's sorrowful within itself, right? Along with all the other stuff that Yahawashi had to go through, right? Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. Another reason why he was a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief is because he had a lot of knowledge and wisdom, understanding, right? In fact, the most, right? The most. He was on such a high level that he had so much knowledge and wisdom, understanding, that he was just sorrowful all the time, right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 18. For in much wisdom it's much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. So if you increase your knowledge, you go also increase your sorrow, because that knowledge, that wisdom puts a spirit on you, and now you're more serious. Now you understand, and you know a lot, right? You know a lot. So it puts a spirit on you, right? A spirit of austereness, right? And seriousness, and sorrow, basically. Because let's go to the book, because the people with the highest IQs, even in the world, right? People with the highest IQs, they're not the happiest people, all right? They're not the happiest people. And that's just how the Most High set it up, right? That's just how the Most High set that thing up. The more wisdom you have, you're going to be more austere, and you're going to be serious, like Yahawashi was. You're going to be filled with that grief, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 21, verse 20. It says, a fool lifteth up his voice with laughter, but a wise man doth scarce smile a little. So wise man, real wise man, he only smiles a little, right? Because there's nothing really to talk about. There's nothing really to laugh about, man, right? Because, and you can read about that in the book of Ecclesiastes on your own, man, right? Read the book of Ecclesiastes, all right? That's King Solomon, man, one of the wisest men to ever walk the earth. And he said, hey, after knowing all this, man, I can conclude vanity of vanities. Everything is vanity, man, right? Because let's go to the book of John, chapter 21. This is how much Yahawashi knew, right? Yahawashi wasn't just a dumb dude, man, right? Just some random dude. Yahawashi was very, very smart and very, very intelligent and very wise, right? Let's go to John chapter 21, verse 18. Verily I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself and walkest whither thou wouldest. Let's lock it, not 18. I want verse 17, right? John chapter 21, verse 17. He said unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he had said unto him the third time, lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yahawashi saith unto him, feed my sheep. So Yahawashi said, or basically Peter said, look, Lord, you know that I love you. You know all things. And that all is basically an exaggeration, right? It's not an exaggeration, but basically, of course, the Lord doesn't know all things, like he doesn't know when he's coming back, right? But the Lord does have all knowledge and wisdom. You know what I'm saying? He has wisdom, right? He's the wisest. That's what Peter is saying, right? Of course, you know all things. Of course, you know that I love you, right? But there is some things that Yahawashi doesn't know. For example, like he doesn't know when he's coming back. He clearly states that, right? In the book of Mark. All right. Let's see what else I wanted, man. All right. And also, people sought to kill him. When people are trying to kill you, that's a lot of stress on your mental, right? When you know that there's people watching you all the time and they're trying to kill you, right? They're planning to kill you. They're plotting to kill you. They're plotting on your downfall, right? Hey, Yahawashi knew that people were plotting on his downfall and that people were trying to kill him. And so that's why he's called the man of sorrows as well, right? Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 13. In fact, when Yahawashi was born, as soon as Yahawashi was born, Herod was trying to kill him, man. Ever since he was born, people were trying to kill him, right? But let's go to Luke chapter 13, verse 31. The same day there came certain of the Pharisees, saying unto him, get thee out and depart hence, for Herod will kill thee. So basically what the Pharisees are saying is they're saying to Yahawashi, hey, get out of here, because Herod is going to come and kill you, right? He wants your life. He wants to take your life, right? Verse 32, let's see what Yahawashi said. And he said unto them, go ye and tell that fox. So Yahawashi called Herod a fox, man. That's the equivalent of calling someone a damn, a B word, basically, right? Calling them a cuss word. You can say, go and tell that fox, right? Behold, I cast out devils, and I do cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I shall be perfected. So Yahawashi was basically saying, hey, I'm gonna do what I do, right? I'm gonna keep laboring. I don't give a damn about what Herod is saying, right? But the thing was, the point I really want to touch on is that Herod was literally trying to kill him. People were trying to kill him, right? The Pharisees. You see that all throughout the New Testament, the Gospels. People were trying to kill Yahawashi, right? In fact, one time they tried to throw him over a cliff, but he used that spiritual power to, kind of move out of that, right? And get away, because it wasn't his time, There were people trying to deliver up Yahawashi before it was time. Hey, he got out of that situation as well, right? Let's go to the book of John, chapter 5, right? Let's go to John 5 and I believe 17. Right? It's the book of John, chapter 5, verse 17. But Yahawashi answered them, my Father worketh here hitherto, and I work. So Yahawashi is saying that, look, my Father's always working, so I'm gonna work too, man. Right? And when you read this account, it's basically Yahawashi talking to this man and telling this man, we're healing this man on the Sabbath. And the Pharisees were getting mad at Yahawashi for healing on the Sabbath. Yet, that was our custom to do that on the Sabbath. It's lawful to do well on the Sabbath, right? That's why Yahawashi said that, right? It's lawful to do well on the Sabbath. If I heal somebody, like for example, he said, hey, if a boy is born on the Sabbath, or it's like if a little boy, baby is born, and his day of circumcision, which is the 8th day, lies on the Sabbath, are you going to circumcise him or not? So, and because a lot of these Pharisees, man, they would say and do not, like it says in the book of Matthew, chapter 23. You know what I'm saying? They were hypocrites, right? They were trying to get on Yahawashi for healing on the Sabbath, right? And also that because Yahawashi said to the man that had his bed to get up and walk, right? Get up and take your bed back to your house or back to wherever you came from, And the Pharisee was saying, hey, that's unlawful, right? But you can read that account yourself. Let's go to John chapter 5, verse 17, though. But Yahawashi answered them, my Father worketh hitherto, and I work. So Yahawashi saying, hey, I'm going to work, man. My Father's always working. I'm going to work too. Verse 18, therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him. You see that? It says the Jews sought the more to kill him. So they wanted to kill him more after that, right? Now, remember, this is not all the Jews, but these are just some of the Jews that wanted to kill Yahawashi, right? It says not only because he had broken the Sabbath, but it said also that God was his father, making himself equal of God. You see that? So they wanted to kill him, man, right? Cast him out, take his life, man, right? And ultimately, people did take his life, right? Let's go to Luke chapter 22 and verse 1. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover. And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people, right? So they were plotting, the chief priests and the elders and the scribes, they were plotting about how they were going to kill Yahawashi. And hey, Yahawashi knew that, man. He knew it, right? He knew that he had to go through that too, right? That's why when you go to the book of Luke, right? And first, let me get this precept in the book of John chapter 2, man. This book of John chapter 2. John chapter 2 and verse 25. Or I'm going to start at verse 24. But Yahawashi did not commit himself unto them, because he knew all men, and needed not that any should testify of man, for he knew what was in man. He knew what was in man. Wickedness, folly, evil. He knew what was in man, right? So he already knew what their intentions was. He already knew that he was on a hit list, for the lack of better terms. But let's go to the book of Luke chapter 22, right? Or yeah, same chapter, right? Luke chapter 22 and verse 39. Okay, and this is when he's about to be delivered up to the people, right? to be afflicted. But it says Luke chapter 22 and verse 39. And he came out and went as he went out, and went as he was wont to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples also followed him. And when he was and when he was at the place, he said unto them, pray that ye enter not into temptation. Right. So we should all be praying that too, right? That we enter not into temptation, right? It says, and he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and kneeled down and prayed, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. So Yahawashi is praying right now, right? And being in an agony. So Yahawashi was in agony, man. Right? And we can only imagine what this type of agony was like. He's about to do what the Father preordained for him to do, man. He's about to do it. He's about to get delivered up. He's about to go through so much pain and tribulation, right? It says, and being in agony, he prayed more earnestly, right? So he kept praying, and his sweat was as it were great drops of blood falling down to the ground, man. So Yahawashi was in such anguish and agony that he was sweating blood, man. Okay, sweating blood. And that's actual medical term. It's rare, but it's actually real, right? Let's go to that. It's called hematidrosis, right? Hematidrosis, right? And it says it's an extremely rare condition in which you sweat blood. It's also known as hematidrosis, right? I'm gonna skip that. It says it's so rare that many people don't know it exists or if it's real, right? But let's get this right. It says hematidrosis is a condition in which capillary blood vessels that feed the sweat glands rupture, causing them to exude blood, occurring under conditions of extreme physical or emotional stress. So Yahawashi, he was in such extreme physical and emotional stress that he was sweating blood. Right? And this never happened to brothers, man. Right? When's the last time you heard a brother say that he was sweating blood? You know what I'm saying? Yahawashi was so afflicted, he was sweating blood. Right? So calm. Because why? You had to go through a lot of pain. And you can read about what Yahawashi went through. All right? Read about it for yourself. All right? How they beat up Yahawashi, how they mocked him, how they spit on him. You know, how they put a crown of thorns on his head, how he was hung on the cross, how his mother was looking at him, man. His own mom was watching him go through that pain, man. So that pains you, right? You don't want your mom, looking at your pain, at your death. You know what I'm saying? Right? But let's go back to this in Isaiah chapter 53, right? I might just read the chapter and then close it up, right? It's a book of Isaiah chapter 53 and verse 7. He was oppressed and he was afflicted. So Yahawashi was afflicted all the way around. Yet he opened not his mouth. He didn't open his mouth, right? When you read Matthew chapter 26, verse 63, he didn't reply to what Pontius Pilate was talking about. Or not Pontius Pilate, but the chief priest. Right? He didn't talk much. When you read that for yourself in Matthew chapter 26, he wasn't talking a lot, man. Right? He was just like this, thou sayest. Right? Yeah, whatever. Right? Yahawashi kept his words, he kept his words few, It says what? He was oppressed and he was afflicted. Yet he openeth not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter. So he was brought like a lamb to the slaughter. You can read that in Acts chapter 8 and verse 32. Right? And as a sheep before her shearers is dumb, so he openeth not his mouth. Right? Because he came as a lamb. when he first came, right? And he's going to come again. But when his first ministry, Yahawash's first ministry, he came as a lamb. A lamb is docile. A lamb is not going to fight back when you bring him to the slaughter, when you bring him to the pen. He just goes with the flow. Verse 8. And so Yahawashi, he was taken up without a fight. That's basically what that's going into. Verse 8. He was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. So who is Isaiah's people? The nation of Israel. So he's saying that for the transgression, the sin of my people, he was stricken. Right? Yahawashi died for the nation of Israel. Right? That's what that's basically saying. Verse 9. And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was any deceit in his mouth. Right? There's no account of Yahawashi, killing people when he first came, right? His first ministry. He wasn't killing people, man. He wasn't fighting other Israelites, hitting them in the mouth and stuff like that. There's only one account of him making a scourge of small cords and scourging the people out of the temple, but that's it, Verse 9, and he made his grave with the wicked. Verse 10. Yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He had put him to grief. When thou shalt make his soul as an offering for sin, he shall see his seed. He shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. He shall see the travail of his soul and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. And Yahweh shall bore our iniquities, man. That's why his job was very, very stressful, because he was bearing the iniquity of all Israel, right? Verse 12. Therefore will I divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong, because he had poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bare the sin of many and made intercession for the transgressors, man. BAHASHAM, man. He made intercession for us. Now we have a mediator, which is Mahashiach Yahawashi. And now we have grace through Yahawashi, and we have access to the Father through Yahawashi. That's John chapter 14, right? And verse 7, right? Hold on now. Right? John chapter 14, verse 7, right? Or verse 6, verse 6, right? Go to the Father through Yahawashi. But with that, I'm gonna close out, right? I'm gonna just get this one more precept, all right, about Yahawashi dying for the nation, right? Let's go to Colossians chapter 2, right? Colossians chapter 2 and verse number 13. And you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh, hath he quickened together with him, having forgiven you of all trespasses, blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross. BAHASHAM, man. He took all our sins, right? He blotted out. He got the spiritual whiteout, and he blotted out all our sins, man. Now we can be forgiven of our sins and have grace and liberty through the Most High, for the Most High, right? Through Yahawashi, because he died for the nation of Israel. So that I'd like to give all honor and praise unto Yahawah, Shema Mashak Yahawashi. Lord willing, this is edifying, right? Brother Yasha Allah, Shalom.